I think we'll call us to order. Are we good on that? Yep, so we'll take nominations for chair.
I'd like to nominate Susan Grasso as chair.
I'd like to second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? No opposed? All right. Turn it over to you.
Okay. Well, thank you. So the first thing I'd like to do is to welcome our newest member to the board, Kim Schmidt, who is from Shelburne and is replacing Susan Holson. So thank you very much, Kim, for volunteering.
We use that broad.
The next thing I'd like to do is actually thank David for his leadership on the board. He's been a very eloquent and compassionate chair, and I'm going to miss you, and I'm sure that many of us, hopefully all of us, hope that you are back in the seat one day. So, but does anybody else have anything to say, to add?
I do. So when Dave took over from me as chair, he gave me two nice gifts, so I thought I should return them. One is a Cherophone.
Susan, that was dumb.
So you might need this to share that with Susan. The other thing was the throw the ball at me if I screw it up, so you can have that to throw at Susan if she gets way off track. So I think that will help. But this is also a really special occasion, and I know now that having been a chair and stepped out that you'll have a lot of catching up to do. Like for instance, you cannot possibly have had time to actually be a lawyer in the last 3 years. So I found this thing that I think it's like a primer, King of Torts King of Torts John Christian. So I think that's like a how-to book on how to be a lawyer. You can just listen to that in the
This
car.
will be helpful.
Okay, and then you're gonna have a lot of free time. So I thought, how's he gonna fill up all that free time? So I got you a couple things. One is the awesome yo-yo trick book. So you can work on an instant juggling, which you kind of have to do as a chair. But just in case you've forgotten, you can have those too. And
I'm willing to share.
and I got you this book, World War Z, just because it's a great book. And it's nothing. I mean, it's not because it's about zombies, but it's a great book. So you can read that one. And then because that's still not going to fill up all the time that you need, so I don't know if you've seen this. Read this already, Steve Jobs. It's 24 and a half hours of CDs, and I figure that will take you through about April 18th. So thank you very much for serving, and you did a fabulous job, and we appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a sweet of you. And I'm willing to share some of these. I'm not willing to share the yo-yo tricks, but since I already know how to juggle.
Oh, give it to Susan. Perfect. 4 kids.
That's true.
I think you already know how to juggle.
So, let's see, before moving on to section 2 of the organization and committee appointments, we do one last thing to do. I would like to call an executive session to discuss a personnel matter. So if we could have a motion for that. A second? All those in favor? Opposed? I guess we'll move into appointments. We need to start by filling some board positions. So we'll start with the vice chair position, which Leah has been filling for the last couple of years, and I hope she plans to continue. So
I move to place Leah on the slate for vice chair.
and we don't need seconds, do we? For now, do we? Okay. Any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, they're closed. All those in favor of Leah? Say aye. Opposed? Okay, thanks, Leah. Next is the clerk. Jonathan's been filling the clerk position for quite a while now, I guess. So I hope you're still continuing to plan on filling the clerk role.
If there's someone else that's interested, I'm open, but I will serve again, yes.
I move that Jonathan Mills' name be on the nomination.
Second?
Second.
So all those in favor of Jonathan, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and then the assistant clerk has been Joan. Joan, you're willing to continue that, so.
Jonathan does so well. Be very
With your help.
Nomination then?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of Joan?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, so we have those board positions filled. We also need to fill the 4 CSSU board member positions that have been held most recently by David, Jean, Joan, and Lorna. Last year at this time, we only had 3 seats at the CSSU table, but we got a waiver from the state to increase that number to 4. So traditionally, the board chair has been part of that group, and I think that's a good plan to continue, but I don't think it's a requirement. Is that right? So do we have nominations for the CSSU board member positions?
I'd like to nominate Susan Grasso, Jean Jensen, Joan Lennis, and Lorna Jimerson.
And can we do these all as a
Sure.
group?
We can do
Yep.
it as a group unless someone wants to nominate.
Any
or-
other nominations? Okay. I guess, do we have a second? All those in favor of, okay, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so that's the board chair, the CSSU board member positions. And now we're going to move on to committee assignments. Megan, do we have a list of the,
We have the list of the committees that you have had in place, which is policy committee, negotiations committee, 3 to the finance committee, 3 to the facilities committee, co-curricular.
okay, so, and I have a list here too, so I guess I'll just start with my list because I do have a couple of questions about some of our committees. So why don't we start with the finance committee, which we would like to have 4 members on the finance committee. And right now, Jean, Jonathan, and Ray are members of that committee.
Lorna?
Is that right?
I'm trying to think if Lorna is as well.
Oh, Lorna.
Yes.
Are you guys all willing to continue?
If I have to.
You have to.
You have to.
Kim, I live for this.
Is there anybody else who's interested in being on the finance committee? Okay, so do we
I think you can appoint.
just appoint, so, okay, you guys are appointed, thank you.
Can you say the names again so I can put them
Sure,
all down?
Jean, Jonathan, Ray, and Lorna.
Thanks.
Now, the facilities committee is currently composed of Polly, Jean, and myself. And we'd like to have 3 members on that committee. I will be stepping down from that committee, so we have an opening. If somebody is interested in being a part of the facilities committee, now's your chance to come forward. Ray, okay, great.
It's not a huge commitment.
All right, so we've got Polly, Jean, and Ray on the facilities committee. The turf fields committee no longer exists, right?
Correct.
Okay. The communications committee has had 3 members on it. It's most recently consisted of Leah, myself, and Susan Holson. Susan's no longer with us, and I'm actually interested in staying on this committee.
Good.
So, but it would be great to have a 3rd person come on board. And
I can do that one.
yay, Kim, thank you. Okay.
Kim, thank you.
Okay, then we have the co-curricular committee. The co-curricular committee is planning on reporting out in the May meeting. As of right now, the co-curricular committee consists of me, Polly, and Ray. My understanding is that that's an ad hoc committee, and so after we report out, I think at that time we can decide what to do with that committee, whether to disband it or move it forward. Then I have here a CSSU Superintendent's Evaluation Committee. Okay.
Those are CSSU members.
I was wondering if, did we
Oh,
have
okay,
one
maybe
that-
these
would
are
we have
the
one from each board, perhaps?
Maybe these are CSSU positions then, or CSSU board committees. Okay.
Others can participate if we call that, but it's a CSSU membership committee.
Okay. Megan, so are there any others?
There's
Because-
there's nothing else on here other than approving
There's
JED.
a local standards board, which I've been serving
And that's a
on the CSSU standards board.
But that's a CSSU
Right, but I-
standards board.
right.
She's our rep.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
so-
have to be a CSSU member to be a standards board committee member.
Okay, so.
But she'd be appointed by the CSSU board, right? So you don't have to do it, Susan.
Okay.
So
But you-
do I
Marilyn,
need
you're
to make,
interested?
do I need to make the CSSU board aware that,
Marilyn, are you gonna volunteer again?
No, I love doing it, it's fine.
Okay.
So,
My 6 years will be up and I'll have to boot me off soon, so.
okay, so do you then attend all the CSSU meetings?
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
And-
No,
I
not the
attend the
meeting.
standards board.
Just the standards board, okay. So then there's the CSSU negotiations committee, which Lorna is on.
And we kept that.
And so
And we-
she'll continue to be on that one.
Did we have 2 people or just 1?
We have just one right now. Should we have a second?
Well, it's too late to.
it's too late to have a second.
Okay. And then we have the CSSU Administrative Pay Scale Review Committee, which Joan and Jean have been on.
But
That's finished, isn't it?
it will have in the language, it said we get together every 2 years or something. So we've got to look at that again. We can ask Colleen.
Or Jean?
Okay. And then I have here a CSSU Outcomes Committee.
I was on that committee. Right, that's a
Yeah,
district
that's
one, right?
probably-
We haven't met in a long time.
No.
And I have Jean on that committee, so,
No, Marilyn's from the CVU board, right?
Right, Jean's from the
CSSU board.
Right.
okay. All right. And then the CSSU Food Services Committee, which Polly, I have you on that. Okay. Okay.
Don't we have a representative to the policy committee? Did we?
Right now it's
Lorna.
Lorna. Yep.
Lorna.
Lorna, okay.
And Susan,
Yes.
I serve on Connecting Youth's board, but it's not a CVU board appointment. They have that jurisdiction to invite someone, and they always have well, I don't know if it's always a CVU a CVU connection, or if it's just someone, a board member, but that's their jurisdiction. We can't appoint to that board, and I serve on it.
Okay. Okay, so I think we're done with appointments to the standing committees. Okay, so moving on to section 3, adjustments to the agenda. Do we have any adjustments?
We're adding one action item just to talk about the last student and faculty day, which is 8.4.
And can we add a brief budget debrief, very short discussion on $7?
Okay. So when we do adjustments to the agenda, do our additions always go at the end? Or can it go anywhere?
Right in the right section.
Okay.
So that would be.
No, I mean at the end of the section.
Oh,
So
yeah.
would it, okay. Okay then. So we've got two adjustments. One is a budget vote debrief, and the other is talking about the last day of school for students and faculty. Okay, section 4, audience and communications. Do we have anybody in the audience that wishes to speak? It doesn't look like it.
This is Daniel, everybody, and for those you don't know.
Hi, Daniel.
Is that your communication for the night?
Okay, then, moving on to section 5, presentations. We don't have any scheduled for tonight. That takes us to section 6, reports to the board. We don't have any student
I'm prepared to
reps
share
tonight.
what they asked me to prepare, if
Okay,
you'd
well,
like.
great. Yes,
Okay.
we'd love to hear that.
The one-act plays just completed over the weekend. A number of students participated, and they were excellent. I went Sunday, and so those were a big success. The student council also led a blood drive on Friday, and that also drew an awful lot of students, and we're really proud of all the students who made the effort to donate blood. And then the most recent events have been around the sports teams. We had a very successful winter sports season, and it concluded with state championships by both Nordic ski teams, the girls and boys, the girls varsity basketball team, and the boys varsity hockey team.
We'll run out of hardware space.
It's-
Just in case, with the whole expansion.
We're not doing new construction.
Yeah.
The facilities committee's gonna have to look into that bigger.
Sounds good.
I thought you might also be interested in knowing that Uta Otley was named Coach of the Year for
Oh.
Division I girls
Nice.
basketball by the Vermont Basketball Coaches Association. So that was a really nice recognition. And that Emily Kinniston was named Gatorade Player of the Year for a second year in a row. So I'm kind of in the know on basketball.
Yes,
So
you
I thought
are.
I'd share that with you. Great.
And CVU got some great publicity with close finishes in both the basketball game, where it was 2 free throws with 1.9 seconds to go, and in the boys Nordic when their Thomas Clayton in the relay lunged and beat the second place team by about 1.5 feet.
That was very,
Yes, and
Very dramatic.
that got a picture in the Free Press.
yeah, that was great.
Great. Okay, then, moving right along, section 6.2, principals
Mhm.
report.
Yeah, just a couple things I wanted to highlight. We have our MAPS 10 afternoon coming up on the 25th of this month, where we invite parents of 10th graders to come in and speak with advisors and meet with the student and the advisor and the parents around what the next 2 years will look like and decisions they'll make around course scheduling and what happens after high school, a number of topics. And this fits really nicely into the state's PLP initiative, which we will start in earnest next year. But it's just another example of how we've positioned ourselves pretty nicely to do some of the things that the state has been discussing for a long time and has now found great value in. And so we feel really good about where we are, and we will be sharing more information later at one of the presentations to you about some of our plans around personalized learning plans. And then I just wanted to add that course scheduling has begun for next year, and our admin team met on Monday, this past Monday, to begin designing the new structure given the fact that we have reduced one of our administrators. So we're in the process of coming up with that. We've sought feedback from all the faculty ahead of time and are now trying to make some of those decisions. And when we have a plan, I will share it with you.
Okay, sounds great.
Susan,
Yes.
if I can add.
Absolutely.
Jeff, yesterday, I was on the floor of the House. We
Oh,
were
that's
starting
right.
the day, and they're talking about energy efficiency and all these awards, and I'm like, wait a minute, we got those. And I'm looking around, well, Kurt Prue and Katie Antos Ketchum were there, and it was so exciting. And so I got to introduce them, and Kurt reminded me, because I asked him, thought we were the first wood chip burning fuel system in the state. We were the second in 2005. And so you know, folks have come to our building to see that, and Kurt shows it and brags. I mean, it's probably not state of the art anymore when I realize it's almost 10 years old.
Years, yeah.
But it was very nice to see them, and I wasn't thinking about that. Shelburne was recognized, didn't send anyone, but I got to introduce them, and it was pretty nice.
That's nice.
I drove up here for a meeting one morning when it was like below zero and I saw the steam coming out of the wood chip boiler. It's like,
Absolutely.
yes, wood chips.
Absolutely. And we are a national finalist for Green Ribbon
Oh, excellent.
Award for Green Ribbon School, and we'll hear, I believe, at the end of this month as to whether we have won.
Wow.
Great. Okay, then, moving on to 6.3, committee reports. Do we have any committees that want to report out today? Okay, all right. I'm getting through this very quickly.
There is an issue that I just wanted to bring to the attention of this group. You dealt with that issue today. As a local standards board representative, there's a big push from the Vermont NEA to eliminate the whole portfolio process for teachers in the relicensing. And to go back to what I think is a very antiquated system of just having credits for, you know, you have to get so many credits in your area to be able to get relicensed every 7 years. And so it was, Leah was there, so I would know more than I, but I was kind of surprised to hear that movement from Vermont NEA to do that.
What else do you want to know?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't know, today went.
Well, it's a very
It
interesting
passed.
meeting. What?
It passed, that
It
they're
did
gonna
not.
do away with the portfolio.
No, it did not actually.
Yeah, I just got an email
No,
a while ago.
if you read, actually, you should read the minutes and see what we actually have as a policy, the things that we did agree to, and that's not currently included in what we agreed to. The language isn't there yet because we didn't have time to process all the various aspects of it. So we talked about a 5-year period for reviewing people rather than the 7 years that we currently have, increasing the timing of that, but then also reducing the credits / hours accordingly so that it would be 90 instead of the 135. And we definitely discussed the portfolio. When we took the words we haven't agreed about the portfolio as it's currently. We don't have any I think the agreement we have is that as it currently is, we wouldn't want to continue it. But we haven't decided what that was replaced by, like what verification of credits might mean, and that's where the discussion will go next. So we agreed on the time period, on the number of hours we wanted to see, on the fact that there needed to be verification of some sort, and that we wanted, you know, obviously that all candidates are in good standing relative to their criminal records and all that other stuff, which are obvious because they always are happening. Where the discussion left off was what does verification of professional development mean, and those discussions will be continuing at our next meeting.
Including the IPDIP and
Including the
and
IPDIP, because we
portfolio.
did not put that language in anything that we accepted today. We don't have IPDIPs on in there, nor is the professional portfolio. But I just want to be clear that as of now, as a whole board, there are probably members of the board that if you polled individuals, they might say that they're done with those. But as a board, we haven't made that decision. So that's an ongoing discussion.
Thank you, Leah.
You're welcome.
Current.
It was an interesting meeting.
And-
Very interesting. It was really collaborative, but it was interesting.
And one other thing that we do, not a committee, but at the end of the year, at Jeff's last teachers meeting, we've had ice cream cake. I haven't spoken with Jeff if he wants to do that or whatever, but we give longevity gifts to faculty and staff. So someone who's been here 10 years, 15 years, in 5-year increments from 10 years up. And Sue Gipner and I have been doing that, but I'll wait and defer to Jeff. But it is, it'll be in June before the graduation date of June 13th. So just folks have that on the calendar during the day. And I'm working working with Sue also on, this is our 50th graduating class. So we have some members, some community members lined up maybe to speak at graduation, and keeping it still focused on students, but it'll be a big deal, I think, and how we develop that. I'm not sure. If folks want to become involved, please join us.
Okay, moving forward to section 8, action matters.
We're gonna do discussion
Budget
matters.
vote, debrief.
So I just wanted, I did, because we ought to take a second to acknowledge the fact that a budget passed by a significant amount in a really, really difficult year, and I'd be interested in what other people felt about that. What I think I heard from the Williston community was a lot of respect for the work the board did to keep the budgets at zero, and that it's very confusing as to why the whole tax rate is, but most people that I spoke to admitted they didn't really understand why the tax rate was going up, but they weren't gonna punish our kids for the sins of what they see as somebody else. And there's a lot of stuff going on in the legislature because we have to unbind that confusion on the tax rate. But I do think, at least in my community, it was, Williston was 0, we were net 0. I think people just really respected that work. So I don't know if anybody else wanted to add anything about their communities.
I think the CVU board needs to present first. At the Williston town meeting, because by the time David presented, I think everyone cleared out.
Oh, he liked us that way.
It was much easier because I was asleep when I presented.
And remember, we're only there as a courtesy. That's not our meeting. So, but I do. I did this for Sean, so I did it for you too, Jeff. But
Wow.
Your first budget,
Yeah.
and it passed, which is a big deal. So I have a little commemorative something for you.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it. And thank you for all of your help with this as well. I certainly didn't want to be the guy to be known as first year, no budget, no report. So,
You have to open it.
oh, and everybody, okay, absolutely.
Leah nearly gave her life to it because I was at Michael's and he ran her over.
What'd you get at Michael's?
22 million in there?
Great.
That's very cool.
Oh, that's.
Very apropos. I
There
like
you
it.
go.
Very creative. Very impressed. Thank you, Jane.
Unless Sean left his, because he
No,
probably
he didn't. He took it.
Okay.
He's not sure how many more budgets he's going to pass.
Good point.
Yeah, he did.
But anyway, Jeff, I was very impressed. You did a great job. You really had your hands around the whole thing. I don't know how much you were involved in the budgets before, but you took to it like a duck to water. So thank you for.
Well, thank you. I appreciate
I
it.
know the decisions were not all easy. So.
No, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff did a superb job, and we can't thank him enough, but we also need to thank everyone on this board for the incredible amount of work they put into it, and for the work in the flyer, the survey, speaking to the communities, answering questions. It really was a wonderful group effort, and it paid off
Good articles
very
in the
nicely.
paper, too. Really good articles.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Two ex-board children.
Okay, then, moving on, I'd actually like to talk about the this year's calendar and the last day of school for students, if we could do that next. So do we have calendars, Megan, that we can pass out
Yep,
to
so
everybody?
you're talking about 8.4, the last student faculty day, opposed?
Is that what you want to skip to?
Yes, I'd like
Skip to, okay.
to do that next,
that.
yes.
So these are just copies of, I'll let everyone. It's our current year calendar, it does say K-8 at the top, because we're only playing with the end date, so it's not the CVU calendar. The red squares are our snow days. So the proposal is to have the last student day be Friday the 13th of June.
That's graduation.
It's graduation, yeah.
And the last faculty day would be June 17th.
How exactly do we have a last student day the same day as graduation?
It was scheduled to be Thursday, if you notice.
Yep.
And so now it'll have to be on graduation day. It would work well for our exam schedule because that would be makeup day.
Got it.
Last year, it did not work well. We had exams on that Friday and on Monday after, and then the makeup day on Tuesday. And that meant that we could not have 2 exams that day because graduation's at 1 o'clock. And so it was definitely disruptive to the schedule. And seniors have to be signed out and done by Wednesday of that week. And that's when, if we were to have students until Tuesday, that would be the first day of the exams. And so that would be a considerable hardship to seniors and teachers to arrange their exams by Wednesday.
Does this mean we will have no more snow days this year?
This is the edict right here.
Okay.
Now, what I think I heard at the board chair meeting was that if there is another snow day, they'll add 2, the K's are gonna add 2 days, the 16th and the 17th, because right now they're shorting, they're waiving 1 day. I don't think that affects CVU, because we'd just be done.
Right, and I think if that were to happen, we could make that Monday, the 16th, our makeup day.
And so then have exams on that Friday, the
Right.
13th?
Right, we would still have to maneuver that a little bit, but we could do what we did last year.
That
We
was-
have just
it
one
was-
exam on that day.
Yeah, that was terrible last year, so we'll just hope for no more weather days.
No more snow.
It was challenging.
Okay, any more discussion on this item?
Did,
We didn't have a motion.
Do we
Did we
need a
make a
motion
motion?
then to revise the last day of school? Last student day and last faculty day?
So moved?
Second?
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay then, section, or next we're on, I guess that's 8.3. Adopt the regional calendar 2014-2015. So just as a reminder, by statute, the regional calendar is approved by a majority vote of the Champlain Valley Superintendent's Association. We do not have the authority to make changes to it, but it is included here for our information. And I guess if we have any questions on it, this would be the time to ask.
We do have to vote on it.
we do have to adopt it.
So is there any discussion before we do that?
I'm willing to move that we adopt it.
Well, we should have that first.
Yeah.
Oh, we have a
Second. Now discussion.
Okay, now we discuss.
Yeah.
I'll get the hang of it.
See, with 2 ex-board chairs,
Yes.
you cannot go wrong, Susan.
Really?
Wait,
Okay.
Susan, we have to adopt the meeting. No, it just, I don't have it in front of me, but if you look at the one that was in our packet, it's only the 175 days
Correct.
that we're approving. So I assume either next month or the month after is when we look at the CVU one, we see where the professional development days go in and all that kind of stuff, right?
That's right.
That's
Okay.
correct, yep. And just to give you a little heads up, I will be proposing, we currently have 11 half-days on the schedule, 8 of which are for professional development. I'm going to propose that we go from 8 half-days to 2 half-days and 3 full days, which would then mean reducing the student days, but it ends up being the same in terms of the amount of time in the classroom.
You see, that's
So-
what I've been
Does that
arguing for
make you
years.
happy?
We
Jim?
will,
Arguing for years that a half day is a
We'll
half
give you the
day.
details next month.
Okay.
I'd just be interested, Jeff, because, for years now, I've been hearing that best practices is
Mhm.
half days every other
Mhm.
week, and so if now we're saying best practices is full days, I'd just be interested in.
Yep, I'll have some things to say at that point.
Thank you.
Sure.
Now we vote.
Okay, any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor of adopting the regional calendar, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes. And we're on to 8.5, affirm code of conduct and code of ethics. So I hope everyone's had a chance to look over the code of conduct and code of ethics, and there was some other important information in that section too, including policies on confidentiality, student discipline, conflict of interest, how to handle student complaints, etc. These are all really important documents for us to see on an annual basis, and David recommended that we do that during this meeting with a new board member coming on board. So I think that's a really good habit for us to be in.
And is there training that's being offered that you can participate in Vermont School Board Association usually does a training, have you gotten that?
I have a few of
information?
them, yes.
Okay. I think it's useful, it's also good if folks want to take a refresher. There's always a new way of hearing it, seeing it.
And
So am I the only new
And-
school board member?
You were the only new one.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But there'll be-
CS,
another new
the
one,
supervisory union typically does an orientation for new board members from all of the boards, and I assume they're doing it this year, although I haven't asked
Yeah,
Elaine.
if you tour all
And-
the schools, nice.
and that's very valuable. There's an evening meeting with some presentations by some board members. The best part is the day you get to go visit all the schools. And that is just a treat to see all the schools and get a better understanding of how they feed into our system.
No, I missed the beginning of that. That was who's,
Chittenden South Supervisory
Okay,
Union,
so
so
this
the
is-
union will,
Okay.
it typically puts that together, and I assume they're doing it this
contact
year.
I don't think
about
they've
that?
set a date yet
No
for
date,
that,
but
Okay.
so.
same
And-
plan.
And they're new board members from other boards that would join you.
okay.
From all the K-8 boards.
Okay.
So.
You know,
So
it's kind of boilerplate, but they are really important, and I think, actually, Jonathan, you were on a committee, you and I and somebody else were on a committee about 10 years ago, so maybe at some point we ought to think about reviewing and seeing if we want to update them. Jonathan had the really good idea of kind of putting in a code of ethics, what we believe, and then the code of conduct, which is what we do. That's why they're two separate ones, which is a little unusual, but, you know, it does very much clarify the lines of communication and how you get something on the agenda and things like that. And Susan, you'll be getting a lot of phone calls, so. But if
I know who to call, so.
if anybody, I mean, we kind of, sometimes we look at this more closely than other years, but if anybody has a question, we should talk about it. So, but I think they hold up pretty well.
It seems not very important until it becomes very, very, very important. So I would encourage everyone to review them again.
But the South Burlington board got in trouble with a quorum, right,
Yeah.
outside of a meeting, and
Right,
so
that's right.
there's situations like that. It seems like there's a lot of focus in Chittenden County right now on that whole warning meetings and making sure that if you have a quorum, it's a warned meeting, and
Reply all, we don't do that.
right, that's a very good one.
We can get informational communication out to us, meeting change, this and that, but not dialogue, not, or updates for meetings, but then you don't press reply all. Even if it's for I can come or I can't come, it should still be.
Just stay out of the habit, right? Just send it to one.
Don't hit reply all.
Right.
Very good advice. Okay. Do we affirm, we have a motion then to affirm the code, or?
So moved.
Do we- okay.
Second.
Discussion?
Now that we've already had.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, and then 8.6, approve school choice numbers. And I think we have a document to pass out to all of you that talks about Act 129 and which authorized school choice statewide starting this year. My understanding is that we can cap the number of students who want to transfer out of CVU at 40, although we could set something higher than that if we wanted to. And we also have to set the number that can transfer in. And also I understand that there's no cap or formula for that, but there is guidance, which is what is being passed out to you, on how to go about setting that number. And Jeff is, well, do you want to talk about the recommendation?
Yeah, it's the same number that we had for this current school year, and this is the first current school year of us experiencing this. And so the protocol is that we've set the number at 30, and if we exceed that in applications from other school districts, we have a lottery, And we have exceeded that number, and we will be having the lottery next
Wow.
week. And I will be notifying all of the families of our decisions by April 1st, which is the law. And so we are in that unusual position of having to turn down some students. But the cap is there for a pretty good reason, given that the money is not traveling with the students. Yeah.
And all St. George students are not
Not
in
in
that
this, they're not, that is
situation.
not this situation, correct? Correct.
I have a question.
Yes.
How does it work with exchange students? We had an exchange student one
Mhm.
year. How does,
That also does not play into this number.
Right.
We have a
Is there a
limit of
limit?
exchange, we have 10 we can take for exchange
But
students.
that's our own set.
That's our own set limit, that's not a state mandate,
How many
correct?
do we have going out?
Yeah, that was the question.
That's the issue, is that I believe that we are at a -14 net this current school year.
Jeff, do we have any students transferring out of CVU?
Yes, I think, I can't remember the number exactly, I want to say it's around 16, but we'll have 30 coming in.
Now, do those 16, does that money stay here with us?
Yes, that money stays with us, yes.
So that means we want
It's
to
minus
encourage
14.
people.
You know, yeah.
It's a very unusual circumstance, indeed, very unusual. Yeah. But we do have to approve the paperwork to allow them to go out, but I haven't hesitated on that yet.
Okay. So could I have a motion to approve the school choice numbers?
So moved.
Second.
Um, So let me just understand, do we need to start each of these with a motion? Okay, and then, okay,
And then discussion.
Then discussion.
I'll get the hang of it. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, and the motion is approved. Okay, so section 9, can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second? Discussion?
We can't discuss this consent agenda. I was just waiting for that one.
I know.
I was just waiting.
Yeah, I know.
You have a hard time holding the ball there? I'm waiting for it to come.
I think David should hit Jean.
David, we both blew that one up first time.
Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda is approved. So we're on section 10. We're very early, aren't we?
You're doing a heck of a job.
Okay.
That's right.
We appreciate
Too bad
it.
I can't.
Your first
We
day,
appreciate
wow.
Let's see here. So we're confirming the next meeting dates. The next CVU board meeting is April 9th. And that meeting we'll be back on our regular schedule. That will be at 7 p.m. in this room. And,
We just take a little
do
break
we know the
until-
common topic for
April is assessment recap.
assessment? Okay, that will be very interesting. And
I guess we
Now
just take
what
a
do we
little
do?
break until we, this is just an odd, agenda. The executive session, if I understand, is gonna be all the boards in the same executive session, but because the CSSU board doesn't officially exist yet, it can't be a CSSU board executive session.
oh, okay,
So-
that's why we're.
Right, so all the boards are gonna meet together for the executive session, and then Susan, you're gonna end the meeting. And Williston Board will end the meeting, and CVU, they'll all end their meeting separately. And then we'll go into the CSSU board meeting.
Okay.
It's a little kludgy, this.
Okay.
So I'm gonna move that we go into executive session at 6:40 to discuss negotiations with all the other boards.
We have to do that?
We have to move to go into executive session.
Yeah. At 6:40.
At 6:40. Second?
I second it.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
To a person.
Opposed? Okay, so I guess we have 10 minutes.